Welcome to Heart Attacks Are Us, LLC. No, wait. It's Vikings Report Rewind with Ted, Chris, and Drew. I'm Ted. He's Chris, and he's Drew. And behind the scenes is Ruby making it all possible. Look, the Vikings won a close one, 31-29, I think it was.
Yep.
It was 28-0 at halftime. I thought the Vikings were going to absolutely dog walk the Packers. But hey, 4-0 is 4-0. We had three yawners. We were bound to get a close game eventually at some point. But look, man, 4-0 is 4-0. Drew, you were kind of complaining about the game, and but hey, they won.
I want to welcome everybody to the chat who's ever in there. We will be giving a prize away later, and I don't want to be much of a downer. I complained and bitched and moaned before we got on the air, so I'm going to try to remain positive and think about the positive aspects, but I probably won't. But 4-0, a win is a win, even if it's hanging off the ass of a cow. So I'm going to take it. A win in Lambeau. I mean, there's a lot to look at on both sides, good and bad for this game, but shouldn't have been that close. But the Vikings imploded, made a bunch of mistakes, and it didn't cost us the game.
There you go.
So there's the way I'm going to look at it. But I am going to bitch a little bit during the show, and I imagine people will in the chat a little bit, because football. You can't gravy over anything and say, "Oh, everything's fine," because there's a lot to be concerned about, but there's a lot to be excited about.
Drew, the Vikings made mistakes and still won. Chris, the Packers made mistakes, and it cost them the game in terms of interceptions and missed field goals, which is usually the Vikings' modus operandi, if you will.
Pretty much. I mean, God, the first half, things couldn't have been going worse for Green Bay. I mean, they were throwing interceptions. They were just doing all sorts of things they weren't supposed to be doing. I mean, God almighty. I don't know how this game was this close. I don't.
I know.
I didn't enjoy the second half of this game very much at all. But, we need to get somebody other than Brandon Powell to figure out what the hell to do on punt returns, because apparently nobody else knows. But, no, like we say, 4-0 is 4-0. It's a hell of a lot better than 0-4, and it's even better than 3-1. So, yeah, I'll take it.
Folks, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining us for the Vikings Report Rewind live post-game show. It looks like we've got about 50 people in our chat room right now.
Wow.
As always, we give a prize away at the end of the show. All you have to do is make a comment, and you'll be entered to win the prize that we give away. We also may give away a prize during the show if you make what we think is a insightful, funny, or otherwise miscellaneous comment that we think is worthy of a prize. Anyways, so just make a comment. You'll be eligible to win. We'll make that determination at the end of the show. Look, man, it was definitely a tale of two halves. At the end of the first half, other than that muff punt by Jalen Naylor, I didn't even know her. The Vikings were up 28-7 at halftime. They absolutely dominated the Green Bay Packers in every statistical category. Anthony Tollison, another $2, $1.99. What, are you getting a coin packet in one of your games on?
Thanks, Anthony.
On your phone, but thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it. The Vikings absolutely dominated the Packers. They're up 28-0. Other than that mishandled punt at the end of the first half, complete domination. And I even thought they might have gotten out of the end of the first half with either a field goal or no points at all, because Matt LaFleur completely lost it with a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. But the second half, the Vikings went way conservative. It was like kind of a Mike Zimmer era sort of offense. Run, punt. A couple turnovers. Although the pick by Green Bay, I didn't think was a cram it up your cram hole LaFleur. I thought the pick by Green Bay, the defender was bobbling the ball as he went out of bounds. It wasn't really a pick.
That wasn't an interception. They got hosed.
Either way, the Vikings survived, and they withheld Green Bay's comeback and walked out of there. And look, I don't care what anybody says. I don't even think any of us had in our preseason predictions, Drew. I don't know if you still have that sheet up there on your wall.
I keep it all. You had
Did any of us have the Vikings going 4-0 at this point?
No, we all had them at 3-1. Matter of fact, and you had them losing this game. So
okay,
but we all had them at 3-1 going into the Jets game.
Okay,
so
there you go.
We're off by 1. Yeah.
All right, so there you go.
And 1 for
there was a lot of there was some suspect officiating. Not that I want to complain about the officiating too much, but both of these teams had opportunities to win. Both these teams had opportunities to throw it away, and that the Packers just did a whole lot more throwing it away than we did this afternoon, or fortunately for us.
What? Let's throw it to the people, Ted. This tale of two halves is like, that's an understatement. What do they want to talk about? The good Vikings or the bad Vikings? What do you guys want to talk about? Because we can go any direction anybody wants to go.
It was the best of halves, or it was the worst of halves. It was the age of Sam Darnold, it was the age of Jordan Love. It was.
I would say Darnold. That's the first time I've seen him act like old Darnold. And at some point in the game, after the second quarter, he went into the tank, and I told Toonces, I said, maybe he's just shell shocked because he's never played with a 3-touchdown lead in his professional career. I don't think the Jets were ever ahead, or Carolina, because he fell off the map. He was making some poor decisions, and they came back with a dagger drive late. But I think Sam went in the tank a little bit. But like I said, he put together that drive for the field goal at the end, and he's been doing that every week. And give a shout out. I think Byron Murphy saved that game with the pick and then knocking the fumble.
He sure did.
I'm going to give him the game ball.
Ruby, if you could put that comment back up by Beresford Elliott, I believe it said, I can't believe how pissed I am about a Vikings win. Drew, I believe that kind of sums up about how you feel right now.
Ford is exactly right. And I watched the game with Ford when Mo Williams caught the screen and ran in for that touchdown on the screen pass from Culpepper way back in 2004.
Oh, in the 2004 playoff game.
Yeah.
I watched that with Beresford Elliott. Me and Ford watching that game together. That goes way. That's 20 years ago, but that guy's a great football mind. He's a great fan, and he's fun to party with. So I feel the same way. During the 28-7 lead, I was telling Toots, this is the most uncomfortable 28-7 lead I've ever experienced watching a football game, because they were stopping the Packers, but we were doing nothing. And we talk on this show, at least I talk on this show, about when you have a 3 or 4 score lead, your job on offense isn't necessarily touchdowns or field goals, Chris Gates. Your job on offense is to put a couple first downs together and then punt. Even if they do that on the last 6 drives, which they didn't, the game's over. The time has run out long ago. They're not even near catching up. That should be your motive, but the Vikings couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
The Vikings drives in the second half, interception, punt, fumble, field goal, punt, turnover on downs, and victory formation.
How many plays at each of those drives? 4,
sure.
3.
I got them. I got it right here. Hold on just a second. 7 plays, 62 yards interception. 4 plays, 12 yards punt. 3 plays, 14 yards punt. 2 plays, -6 yards lost fumble. 7 plays, 55 yards field goal. 3 plays, 4 yards punt. 8 plays, 43 yards turnover on downs.
And somebody earlier, I saw those comments mentioned, I think that might have exposed Brian Flores' defense a little bit. I would argue not necessarily, because I think what happened was the Vikings defense was on the field way too much that second half. And when that happens, your defense gets tired. And no matter how good your defense is, when you're on the field that much in the second half, you're going to get tired. It's going to you're going to have a hard time making plays and covering opponents and covering receivers coming across the field. And look, the Vikings defense still made plays. Byron Murphy had that interception in the end zone.
A lot of plays.
He had that Peanut Tillman classic punch out fumble recovery that saved the game. The Vikings defense did a lot to win that game today, even though they gave up a lot of yards. And as much as they were on the field, they still made plays when they absolutely had to, when the Vikings offense was doing absolutely nothing
in
the second half.
That cost them to be out there, though.
I would agree. Yes, absolutely.
It's
Yes.
their fault 100%. I'm not putting anything on the defense today. The defense got turnovers. They did what they could. It's kind of weird. We talked on our preview show on Friday with the big board. The only helmets that we gave them between all three of us was the offensive line. And ironically enough, their offensive line was keeping them in the game.
Yes.
That was the only part. And now you guys know why I said they had to start Jordan Love. Willis ain't doing that.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I was disagreeing with you. I didn't think it was smart to start Jordan Love, and it looked early on, and it was Trent Green, the analyst on the TV, said he wasn't putting his weight on his left leg when he was throwing the ball, and he had a couple of really ugly ducks throws in the first half, and then he got hit early, Chris, and it looked like he was limping when he came up after one hit. And I thought they might take him out, especially when I think it was either 21 or 28-0, and I thought LaFleur just might declare victory and call it a day. And I thought, just live to fight another day, man, because it looked like Love was really not at the top of his game, and he was risking further injury. But to his credit, man, Green Bay came back and made a game out of it when I really didn't think they would. At one point, I looked on ESPN. They had the Vikings had a 99.1% win percentage chance to win the game, and it wasn't there at the end.
I wonder if LaFleur wouldn't have taken Love out if it hadn't been for that disaster at the end of the first half that led to the Green Bay touchdown. It's 28. It goes from being 28-0 to being 28-7. You get the ball coming out of the locker room. You got a little bit of momentum going. I mean, you seem to be performing okay at that point. But I don't know if that happens, but it did happen because Matt Daniels has to get on somebody about some special teams issues. But that's when things started to get a little ugly.
Yeah. Hang on. Wits or YTZ, I don't know if you could put that comment back up. He says, I apologize to all Vikings fans for that second half. When they went up 28-0, I texted to a friend that thing was no ordinary Vikings team because I wasn't even worried they'd blow it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should put that on you because no Vikings fan should ever become that comfortable when the Vikings win, even when you're up 28-0, especially in Lambeau.
Not anymore.
I was sitting there. I mean, the Vikings have us in a shell as a fan, but welcome to being a Viking fan. I imagine it's funny. The football gods are up there, and the Viking guy is probably the obnoxious guy that says, watch what I do. Watch. Because it's, I like being obnoxious and messing with the fans. I'm going to let him back into this thing. But another reason Willis doesn't come back on that, after they get the botched punt, they get the penalty. It's at the 16-yard line. Love lays a perfect pass in there.
Yeah.
That was the most perfect pass he's thrown all day for the touchdown. Willis ain't even coming close to that. But I don't want to belittle the point. It's pretty obvious why they started Jordan Love. He at least gave him a shot. And, they had the momentum there in the second half. You know what I thought was cool can we give it up for Justin Jefferson for that catch?
Yeah.
I mean, and then they got that. I thought, oh, they're going to run it in the middle, and they passed it again. You guys talk about O'Connell his play calling hasn't changed from last year. He's not doing that last year. He's totally running it right there. He passed it again after the first down. I thought that was great.
You talk about that Jefferson catch. I said this on social media after it happened. It's a good thing that Kevin O'Connell had that third challenge in his pocket after he got those first two right, because otherwise that's an incomplete pass, and the Vikings are punting that one away. But no, he made two good challenges. He got the opportunity to make a third one, and it paid off. I don't know how many coaches in the NFL have ever gone 3 for 3 on challenges in a game, but it's got to be a pretty short list, and it's a good thing Kevin O'Connell is on it now.
I can hear the thought bubble above Ted's head during the game going, all right, we're going to put it away on this drive. All right, we're going to put it away on this drive. All right, well, now this is the drive we put it away.
In my defense, through the first 3 games this year, the Vikings have put together a dagger drive when they needed it. And that drive where Sam Darnold got hit when he got blindsided and fumbled, and the Packers recovered, and then subsequently scored and made it a one-score game. I thought that was the drive when they were going to do it, but that made it 28-22. The following drive is when they went, in case of emergency, break glass and throw to Justin Jefferson, and JJ made two huge catches, got down, and then Will the Thrill drilled another field goal, and made it a 2-score game, and that pretty much ended it. So I mean, they did make that dagger drive, and I really wasn't worried. I mean, even when it was 28-14, until Darnold fumbled the ball, and I really can't fault Sam for that. I mean, that was just a great play by Green Bay. They called the blitz, and Darnold got blindsided. He didn't even feel the guy, and it really wasn't. It wasn't that Darnold held on to the ball too long. I don't think it was just a drop back. Green Bay called the right defense at the right time, and he just got hit and lost the ball, man. It just was one of those things. Yeah. It was a football play. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes dudes just make plays. That happens.
You know, a big difference with this team is when Green Bay has all that momentum, and they were avalanching with momentum after that Darnold fumble, they put it in the end zone. I guarantee you, Zimmer is running that thing up the middle with Madison when we get the ball back. 3 straight trying to milk that clock. They let Darnold throw like 4 or 5 passes in a row, didn't they?
I think so, yeah.
And that was a dagger drive, Ted. Dagger drives come in all kinds of different forms, and you don't have to get a touchdown to get a dagger drive. You could just eat time off the clock, and they got that last field goal, so that qualifies as a dagger drive. But again, the Vikings melted down, but not all the way, and they managed to get the win. But I'll listen to you guys. I'm going on and on.
Jason Feenhawk says Green Bay defense is a lot better this year. Look, man, I don't think so. I said I was right for at least 30 minutes of this football game in our preview. I said Minnesota Vikings were going to dog walk Green Bay to Lake Superior, waterboard them, and then dog walk them all the way back to Green Bay. And at least I was right for like at least 30 minutes. I really thought I was so happy for like, half this football game anyways. And right. I don't know that it was the Vikings taking their foot off the pedal. It was just poor execution. I mean, I thought they had some good plays. They just couldn't put the plays together. Like in past seasons, the Vikings would just completely fall apart. I mean, they got a couple first downs. They just couldn't sustain a drive like they could in the first half. I mean, Aaron Jones, I thought, still ran the ball well, at least okay. And they really couldn't sustain anything until that last drive in the fourth quarter. And the defense still made plays in the second half. They had the Byron Murphy pick. They had the forced fumble that Murphy, I can't remember who recovered off the top of my head, but the defense was just on the field too long. And go ahead, Drew.
I got a question for you, Ted, and
yes.
Chris if he comes back. The first quarter and a half, the Vikings looked hungry and aggressive on defense, and they weren't letting them breathe. They were giving them some 3 or 4 yard passes over the middle, maybe a little bit of running, but they were imposing their will on the Green Bay offense. Did they change and go to some kind of prevent thing in the second half? Because it seemed like, Green Bay started moving the ball up and down the field on them. And the whole idea is when you got a 3-score lead is to make them earn it. Sure, we'll give them a touchdown, but we're going to make them use 8 minutes off the clock, and that'll help us in the long run. What was the difference in the defense you saw from the first quarter and a half? Because about halfway through the second quarter, it changed.
I think they were still blitzing. I think they were still trying to bring the pressure. I thought Green Bay's offensive line was doing a much better job of picking up the extra rusher than Houston, the Giants, and
San Francisco
was doing in the first 3 games. I should probably have given a lot more credit to Green Bay's offensive line in our pregame game preview than I did. I thought I probably gave.
No, you gave them a push. That's about even.
I guess, yeah. But they did a really good job in picking up the blitz and the pressure that the Vikings brought than the Vikings' first three opponents did. And I thought with Jordan Love's injury coming back that the Vikings would be able to feast, and they didn't. They didn't bring nearly as much pressure as I thought they would. I mean, they had at least 5 sacks the first 3 games, and I thought they would at least get that today, if not more. But they didn't, and that's credit to Green Bay's offensive line. And when Jordan Love has that kind of time, he's able to read the field, and he found open guys. I mean, I don't care who you are, unless you're Bo Nix or Anthony Richardson. If you have that kind of time, you're going to be able to find an open guy. And
that's why
credit
on our
big
big
Jordan
board,
Love, he was able to do that all day today.
we gave Green Bay the helmets on the offensive line, so we were pretty accurate with that, because without that good of an, if they don't play that good, we completely destroy those guys today, which we probably should have. But I wanted to ask you guys ask Chris about the defense in the second half. Were they just trying to play a prevent, or what was going on? Because there's a lot of open receivers, and Love had too much time. It just seemed like it was very kind of vanilla defensively based.
Well, in the first half, I think the Vikings were bringing a lot of pressure on Jordan Love, and he was off his mark, and he wasn't he was uncomfortable in the pocket, and he had those 2 interceptions in the first half. And I think Green Bay just made better halftime adjustments than the Vikings did. And you kind of saw that. I don't know what Jordan Love's final statistics were, but he had a ton of yards.
He was 32 of 54 for 389 yards.
54.
Four touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
What did Green Bay have rushing the ball? I mean, they were number 1 team rushing the ball in the NFL coming in.
Let me pull it up here.
Like I said,
19,
if they play
19 carries for 19 carries for 86 yards.
We said they weren't going to get their 204. We said they weren't even going to get to 100. That's what we said.
Yeah.
Vikings had 34 for 120.
We said they're not going to get to 100, Green Bay, and they didn't.
Nope.
But they were behind, had to pass the ball. But
but I thought Green Bay made better halftime adjustments, at least in terms of pass protection. And I think part of that, 1, because they were so far behind and they had to, but 2, when you have to throw the ball like Green Bay did, I don't know, and I'd have to go back and look. Maybe they went more max protect or whatever it was they did, or they did more crossing routes. I'm not sure, but they were able to get more guys open. And again, part of it I think goes back to what I said earlier. The Vikings defense was on the field a lot more in the second half than they were in the first. I mean, you look, the Vikings first 4 possessions went touchdown, punt, touchdown. So, I mean, they were able to keep the defense off the field too. So that goes into it as well.
It seemed like the first 3 or 4 drives, they were just toying with Green Bay. I mean, they
were. They absolutely were.
They looked unstoppable. It looked like they were going to score 50 burger easy. I just don't get in the second half why they're going into these 7-step drops and Sam's getting pressure and getting sacked. Where's that short passing game they were using on the first 3 drives? It was so effective. It was very effective. The 3 5-step drops to Addison, JJ, hitting JJ and letting him run with the ball. It was like they were trying to, at one point, they were trying to hit these bombs. They were waiting for JJ to get open deep. And I'm telling Ruby, just get first downs. First downs is how you win this game at 28-7. It's not scoring more. It's getting first downs and eating the clock. That's how you win this game.
I think KOC got greedy, to be honest. And hopefully he'll learn from this.
And he looked bummed after a 3-and-out, intercept. I mean, they showed him on the sidelines and he's shaking his head. And then we get down there, we're trying to milk the clock, and Brandel gets a false start. You're going, oh, geez. Mm-hmm. I think he will learn from it, because we need to keep our foot on the gas. That game should not have been a 2-point game. That
it should not.
No, absolutely not. I mean, like we keep saying, a win is a win, and 4-0 is pretty awesome. And we're going to be going into the London game next week. The chance to be 5-0 going into the bye. Could be the only undefeated team in the NFC by the time week 4 is over. That's just pretty sweet. But we had a couple of blowouts these first few weeks, but for the most part, I mean, we've seen this before. I mean, I keep going back to that one game that we did the live watch party for on a Thursday night when the Vikings played the Steelers.
Yeah.
when they were up like 33 or 36 to nothing at one point, and we were sitting here holding our breath at the end of the game, watching Harrison Smith knock away a pass on the end zone in the last play that could have led to a potential tie ball game. I mean, nothing is absolutely safe in the National Football League, and
Nothing.
like Drew said, when you get up 28 to nothing, there's kind of a balance. I know we always want to see Kevin O'Connell be aggressive and go for the kill shot or whatever, but you got to kind of balance that out. I mean, there's the Mike Zimmer where you're trying to milk the clock and run out of time when you're up 7 points, and then there's Kevin O'Connell doing whatever happened today when you're up 28 to nothing. I mean, you got to strike a balance in there someplace.
I agree. Yeah.
It's just a matter of, I mean, like I said, they have 2 drives where they pick up 2 or 3 first downs, the game's over. And that's kind of how you got to look at it. When it's 28 to nothing, they need to score 4. They need 4 possessions to score. So if you run some first downs off, you make the clock say they don't have time to have 4 possessions. The Vikings gave them enough opportunities to get back in the game, and that's where this game falls. It wasn't any kind of implosion. It was the offense not being able to. I mean, we weren't even asking them to get touchdowns or field goals, Chris. We're just asking them to run some clock, and they couldn't do it.
Yep.
Green Bay had the ball the whole second half, and they almost pulled
Pretty
it
much.
off. So, but a win is a win. We learn from it. We move on. I was just sitting here thinking, I was watching the end of that game going, if these son of a bitches get a field goal and win the game, the show is going to be, downer.
I love what Coach Gawthorpe said here a few minutes ago. He said, found a couple different ways to win this season. Get the Jets and get fully healthy during the bye for a long back half of the season. And look, we have always maintained that winning in the NFL is hard. Yeah. Winning on the road in the NFL is even harder. Winning a divisional game on the road is exceptionally difficult. And it was sloppy and it was ugly in the second half. And historically, in recent seasons, when the Vikings do this type of thing that they did in the second half, it usually avalanches into a defeat. But it was a win. And they won the damn game. I'm not happy. I said in the preview, I wanted them to dog walk Green Bay to Lake Superior and waterboard them and dog walk them all the way back into Lambeau. It didn't happen. It looked like it was, but look, man, they walked out of there with a win, and they have put a hammerlock on this division. They are 4-0. They have a 2-game lead on Green Bay. They have a 2-game lead on Chicago, and I'm not sure if Detroit won or not, or maybe Detroit's playing on Monday night.
They play Monday night.
Okay, but they've got a not only a 2-game lead on Green Bay, but it's essentially a 3-game lead with the tiebreaker. They haven't played the Bears yet, but they're undefeated when nobody thought they would be undefeated at this point. They're going to England next week. They're playing the Jets and old foe Aaron Rodgers. Corey Doolittle says any win in Lambeau is a good win, and he's absolutely right.
That's a great point.
And look, man, I'll take it. It's a win. And a crappy, sloppy win is better than a crappy, sloppy loss. Losing when you should have won is a terrible feeling, and winning when how many times, let me ask you this, how many times have the Vikings lost a game that they should have won as opposed to winning a game that they might have possibly lost in years past? And this time, by God, they won a game that they could have lost and they didn't.
Put
that in your pipe and smoke it with your seeds and stems, Drew Bunning.
I was sitting here thinking as you're talking, how many times have we started the show where we say, how did we lose that game?
Yeah.
Everything you just said is absolutely, even the seeds and stems. Right? Right? I mean, come on, get your keef out. It's a party time. It's party time. But they didn't. They didn't do that, and you got to enjoy the 4-0 no matter how ugly it was, and they did not lose the game. What about that game against the Lions when we had the lead with 20 seconds left and we kicked off and dumbass Zimmer rushes 2 guys. Stafford hits a couple passes for 50 yards. They kick a tying field goal, 50 yards, and then Golden Tate gets a touchdown and over. And we're thinking, how'd the Vikings lose this game? They didn't do that. They've done that so many times. Darnold fumbled. He came out with a stare, man. He's got that stare and led the team down the field. The field goal made it a 2-score game. And sure, they didn't look good in the second half, but they found a way to get it done. How many times, Chris, have we said, you got to get it done? As long as they get it done. I am not happy with how the second half went, but we are 4-0, so Green Bay can pucker up and kiss my ass. You know what I mean?
No, go ahead, Chris. Answer the question.
No, I just said absolutely. I mean, we've seen this so many times before where, it's worked the other way. We've had games this team should have won, and then we wound up pissing it away somehow. And yeah, it didn't happen today. We can say that it was a whole lot uglier and a whole lot harder than it probably needed to be. But they won, and that's all that matters at the end. There's no style points here. We're not trying to impress the guys who do the polls or anything like that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question from a disgusting act. And by the way, look, if you're just joining us, let me update our thing. We've got 253 folks watching right now. Thanks for joining us. All you have to do to be eligible to win a prize is make a comment. We're gonna spin the wheel here at the end. And if you make a comment, Ruby's writing your name down. Gonna spin an electronic wheel, and if your name comes up, you're gonna automatically win a prize. And we'll get your information. We'll send it out to you here at the end of the show. But this comment is, and this is a great question from a disgusting act. How do you guys feel about us going for it at the end of the game on that 4th and 1 call that Josh Oliver, which I thought he made the first on. I don't know it, but that's just me. Instead of kicking the field goal, if Green Bay recovers the onside kick, that's the difference of them needing a touchdown to win instead of a field goal. I thought it was the right call. I would have gone for it because, look, you still have to go 99 yards, which I think Green Bay did, but whatever. Anyways, I thought it was the right call to go for it.
Absolutely the right call. I mean, you get the first down there. The Packers don't have any timeouts. The game's over. Try to win it when you can win it.
I don't give them any chance of being within 3. I'd have kicked it. That's just me.
With the way the onside kick rule is now, when you have to declare it when you're down in the 4th quarter, I would have gone for it because they have to kick it. You have to put your hands team out there. The chances of the opposing team recovering an onside kick. Nicole Marksher, greetings from Liechtenstein. Well, hello, Nicole. Hey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Is Liechtenstein, is that next to Australia? Where's Liechtenstein?
It's in Europe, dude. Come on, man. Read the room, dude. Read the room.
That should have been
Australia's an island. Nothing's next to Australia.
Nothing. No.
That should have been my nickname in '83, Liechtenstein.
No, it shouldn't have. Stop it. Gonna put you in a work camp. Shut up.
I want to kick why not kick the field goal there? Either that or why are you running a jet sweep to Oliver, who never carries the ball? Give Aaron Jones. If you're going to seal the game, give it to AJ. Let him seal the game.
I would have done a sneak with Darnold, actually, but that's just me.
They had a 3rd and 1. They had a 3rd and 1, didn't get it. That's why I would have kicked the field goal. If you didn't get on 3rd and 1, you ain't going to get on 4th and 1. Take the points. They would have needed 2 touchdowns instead of a touchdown and a field goal. The game's over.
Nicole, because you live in Liechtenstein, we can't send you a prize because it's overseas. But this might be the funniest comment we've ever had. Drew asked, "Where is Liechtenstein?" She says it's between Switzerland and Australia. That is the funniest freaking comment I've ever seen in my life.
Austria, not Australia.
Whatever. Okay. All right. Okay. I can't read because I have like 2,500 vision now. But whatever. That's awesome. Not nearly as funny as I thought it was between Switzerland and Australia. But anyways, it's between Switzerland and Australia. Anyways, continue. Go ahead.
Liechtenstein in here.
That's cool, man. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's awesome. No, I would have kicked it. You guys, I can understand why you would have went for it there, but I'm always wanting to take the points in situations like that. I'm always looking at 2-score game, 3-score game, 1-score game. Sure, it's still a 2-score game. if you don't kick it, but it's 2 scores with 2 touchdowns. Look at how it turned out. All they had to do was recover the onside kick and then kick a field goal. They didn't need a touchdown. If it's 34-22, they need 2 touchdowns. I'd have totally kicked that. But I can understand your guys' side to it, though. But I'm going to go with Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein's absolutely correct. What was her name again?
Nicole.
Nicole, we'll figure out how to get you a prize. We'll fly.
I mean, if it's not like, you know, we've made tens, if not dozens of dollars on the show so far. So maybe
I mean, you got
figure something out. I don't know.
Are you guys thinking seal the game, or are you thinking it's 96 yards they got to drive and they're not going to do that, which they did? But what were you guys?
I mean, if you make it, it's over. If you don't make it, like you said, you got to go 96 yards either way.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so look, man, the Vikings. I'm feeling good, man. I don't care. I look, it's a sloppy win. I think, and this is kind of a weird thing to say. It really is.
You saying something weird?
I know. I think this is kind of a weird thing to say because we're Vikings fans, and historically, the first 3 weeks are something or that doesn't really happen to us, at least since the Purple People Eaters era, or like 1998, or off season since then. We got kind of used to the Vikings winning by comfortable margins, and when the Vikings went up 28-0, Jason Finagi, thank you, $5, appreciate that. When the Vikings went up 28-0, we just kind of thought, all right, look, put these clowns away, win 50-0, put a 50 burger on them, and call it a day. When historically in recent seasons, and by recent seasons, I mean the past 40 years, that doesn't happen in a Vikings game. It just doesn't, man. So we shouldn't expect this every week. We shouldn't expect the Vikings to win by 2 or 3 scores every week. We should expect closer games, I guess. But they should have put the game away. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is the Vikings should have put the game away. Should not have made it should not have let it become a closer game than it became. But we should not have been surprised when the outcome became what it was.
No,
I don't know.
Absolutely not.
Look at it this way. It might be a way to look at it. If they're not up 28-0, if they're not taking advantage early of the Packers' miscues, they lose this game. The fact
that's
that
true.
they were up 28-0 built a cushion for us to hang on when we imploded. So you can look at it. There's a lot of different ways to look at a football game. They all unfold differently, Ted, with momentum, and they're all different. So you got to, in a week that we talked a lot about Tommy Kramer on our show.
We did.
And we love Tommy Kramer, and you all heard the news and everything, but this game unfolded like a Tommy Kramer game, didn't it? I mean, we won it at the end. What's that?
No, I'm just putting the Tommy Kramer.
No, that ended up being a Tommy Kramer game. He's probably sitting home going, man, I like this. You guys are stressed out. I love this shit.
Todd Taylor. All right, Todd Taylor. I don't know. Is that prize-worthy? It's kind of nice seeing someone else's kicker screwing up their game.
Yeah, and on top of that, Todd Taylor gets a prize. We'll put his name down. But let's get our drinks up there for that Green Bay kicker. Come on, guys. Let's get that. That guy lost the game. Thank you.
That dude's not going to be Green Bay's kicker the next time we play him.
What's this Niedenfuhr? Whatever.
Tom Niedenfuhr, the former Dodgers pitcher. Is that what you're telling me?
What the hell was his name? Nielsen. Was it Nielsen?
Not going to be kicking for Green Bay anymore, so I guess it really doesn't matter.
Thank you for botching those field goals. Let me write down Todd Taylor. Whoever could tell me the capital of Liechtenstein within the next 15 seconds will get a prize. 15 seconds, Todd.
Somebody just, I just missed that
Nobody
comment.
has it. Look at everybody's Googling. What the hell is the capital of Liechtenstein? Come on. Time's almost up. Oh.
Jay Johnson said Justin Jefferson said Sam Darnold checked into the 17-yard pass to kickstart their late field goal drive to go up 31-22. It was going to be a run, and Darnold canned it when motion showed man coverage. And that was the play that was initially ruled incomplete that Kevin O'Connell challenged. It was his third challenge because he won his first two, I believe, correct? Am I right on that, Chris?
That's correct.
And that was what, third and I believe it was a 3rd and 9.
It was a third down play, yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, look, again, it's one of those calls, and I don't mean to go back and kind of, I think I've kind of dissed Kirk Cousins on every post-game show, and I don't mean to do that, but I don't know that it's something that Kirk Cousins does. But Sam just makes these throws when he absolutely has to keep these drives alive, to keep the Vikings in these games and end up eventually winning these games. That I don't know in seasons past the Vikings would be 4-0 at this point without Sam Darnold.
No, they certainly wouldn't be.
There's been a ton of plays the first month of the season. Let's just say it like it is. Darnold has bigger onions than Kirk Cousins. He made some runs out of that pocket. He ran one in the first half out of the pocket, and I looked at Toonces and I say, Kirk Cousins is not doing that. It's not. And Ruby says, no, he's going to throw it into the ground and they're going to punt. I'm telling you, he has bigger balls than Cousins ever had. And he may not have the stats and all the shit Cousins has, but Darnold is more of a gamer. And I know the Vikings love that. He is.
Steve Schuler says the coach should not have to challenge 3 plays in one game. I agree. But at least the challenge rule is in there that he can, and I'll give KOC credit that he made 3 correct challenges, and the Vikings got the right call on their side. I mean, LaFleur. I mean, there were back-to-back challenges on or challenges on one drive. The Vikings correctly got a call overturned, and then on that same drive where a play was ruled a catch for Green Bay that KOC got overturned. A couple plays later, a play was ruled incomplete for Green Bay that Matt LaFleur challenged, and it was upheld. So I mean, at least Kevin O'Connell knew what the hell he was doing with throwing the red flag, and Matt cramming up your cram hole. LaFleur didn't know what he was doing, so I don't know.
When he was getting mad, wasn't that sweet?
That was awesome.
Yeah,
he was completely losing his shit at the end of the
game. He was.
His neighbor just banged his wife. He's freaking out there. He's running around on the sidelines. He doesn't know if he's coming or going or shitting a brick or looking at the sun sideways. He doesn't know.
No,
and he knows the Vikings are here, and he knows the Vikings are they're gonna destroy him in Minnesota, and they're gonna take the division. And LaFleur, I don't know. The Vikings came in and embarrassed us last year in our own building. At the end of the
Packers
season.
did,
Yeah, they did.
I'm sorry, the Packers, and it's like I think the Vikings had that in the back of their minds, and I think this is a learning experience for KOC. In the second half, where's all the passing to JJ before he started going to him in the fourth quarter? It's like they got away from that game plan a little bit, and like Ted said, got a little greedy. I think Ted might be onto something, because it seemed like they were waiting for these long pass plays to develop, and it's like it's 28-0. Take the 8-yard pass to the tight end. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the first downs going. Don't get greedy. So I'm not gonna. You know what? We're gonna kick the Jets into next week. The Jets are going to get their asses kicked because the Vikings have learned. It's good to learn from your mistakes, Ted and Chris, where it doesn't cost you a game. You learned and you still won, and now you move forward.
And that's all that matters to me at the end of the game. Like Chris said earlier, it's not you're not looking for style points for the playoff committee in college football.
Nope. I mean, a win is a win. You're 4-0. You're currently the best team in the NFC. I mean, there's really nothing to complain too loudly about here, honestly.
Maybe a little adversity or a little bit of meltdown was what the Vikings needed at this point, because have they faced any of that the first month?
No,
Not
that's
really.
a great point, man. That's a great point, dude. Yeah.
So, I mean, they've been rolling the first 3 weeks. They haven't been pushed into a corner. And today they're pushed into a corner and they figure out how to get it done. So, disgusting act. I want to know what the disgusting act was. I know it's still early, but do you think we make a move?
I mean, if you want to make a move before the deadline, you don't have anything to trade. I mean, you've traded most of next year's draft away already. So I don't know how many moves they can make. I mean, they're going to be getting TJ Hawkinson back. There's a move.
Digital Nate. I don't know if I want to address this right now. But it's what people are talking about. Ruby, if you could put that question up from Digital Nate about Sam Darnold, about an extension. Yeah, here's a question for you guys. Do we sign Darnold to an extension? Look, I've maintained this, and I will maintain this until it doesn't happen, or until it does happen. But I firmly believe that when the Minnesota Vikings sat down with Sam Darnold, they told Sam, look, Sam, we're going to give you a 1-year deal because we're going to draft our quarterback of the future, whoever that's going to be. And it turned out to be JJ McCarthy. And unless Sam Darnold takes the Vikings to a Super Bowl or the Vikings win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold, they told him, we're going to give you a 1-year deal and it's going to be a reclamation year for you. And we are going to give you an opportunity to audition for the 31 other teams in this league. And when you leave here, you're going to make a boatload of money in free agency next year, but we're going to give the reins to whoever it is we draft. And we're going to give the team to the next quarterback. And if you're okay with that, we want you to sign here. Now, if he wins the Super Bowl, yeah, maybe. But their whole plan, the Vikings' whole plan is to build their team around a quarterback on a rookie contract. And if they go ahead and sign Darnold, then you kind of blow that out of the water, because then you just might as well have signed Kirk Cousins to a $3 or $180 million, or whatever the hell it was the Falcons was. Falcons deal was. I don't think they're going to do that with Sam, Chris, Drew. I don't know.
No, I don't. Like you said, short of them winning a Super Bowl, and then if you win a Super Bowl, I mean, nobody cares. But short of winning a Super Bowl, this is Sam Darnold's 1 year in Minnesota. And like Nicholas Roussan just said, he's earning himself a big contract extension somewhere. It's not going to be here because they have their thing.
Is exactly right. This is his Lufthansa with Jimmy Conway. I mean, Sam Darnold.
Wow, that was a
great
man.
I would give you a prize if somebody else had said that. Yes.
Sam Darnold will be nothing but thankful to Minnesota when he walks out of here. No matter, he knows the future's with JJ McCarthy, whatever, but he's going to be thankful because he's going to get one last big ass payday, probably a 4-year deal to start somewhere. So he's going to be nothing but Lufthansa for the Vikings. He's going to be, I love my time there. I love all that stuff. I mean, and as it should be. I mean,
if somehow, some way, the Vikings win the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold as their quarterback, I will start a GoFundMe to put a statue in front of U.S. Bank Stadium, and Sam Darnold will never pay for a drink in the state of Minnesota again.
If I have anything to say, you got to resign him.
If I have anything to say about it, but I still think it's JJ's team next year. But yeah,
absolutely.
Sam Darnold brings a Super Bowl to a team that's never had one in 60-something years. You got to.
If I was Sam, I'd retire and just buy a house in Minnesota and just walk around and walk into a bar like every other night.
I don't think I'm more happy for anybody on the Vikings except besides Sam Darnold. I mean, you got to look at his career up to this point.
Oh, I know.
And I know you guys have thought, even though you haven't said it verbally or anybody in the chat, the last 3 weeks, have you guys been thinking, oh, God, this is the week it runs out? Oh, shit. Is this going to be the week it runs out? I'm starting to not. I've been that way the first 3 weeks. I'm waiting for the real Darnold to show up. Now I'm starting to think that person's not going to show up. And I'm grateful for that.
Kind of starting to think the same way. I mean,
the Giants game and the Niners game, and I know you guys are thinking, Are we doing it smoke and mirrors? Is this Darnold just riding a high? Is he going to fall back to earth and look like he did with the Jets and the Panthers? Have you been thinking that way, or are you sold? Are you really sold, SOLD, on Sam Darnold?
I'm getting there. I mean, the everybody, the first week I was like everybody else. Well, it's just the Giants. And then, 49ers. Okay. And then, the Texans. And then today, the first half of the Packers game, I'm like, man, this dude's the MVP of the NFL. The second half, he kind of came back to earth a little bit. I don't know that I really blame him for that fumble. That where he got blasted.
No, it's just a good football play.
I think it was. Let's see what he does going overseas to England next week and then the bye. But he is playing the best football of his career, hands down. And we always said, I think all three of us said, if he would ever have a chance to succeed, it would be in this situation with this talent around him. And so far, he's proven us right. So we'll see.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like you said, we've been expecting him to show up, and maybe this is the real Sam Darnold. Finally, I mean, he's in a situation. He's got more talent around him than he's had. He's got a coaching staff that clearly believes he's the guy, at least for now until they're ready to bring JJ McCarthy in next season. Maybe this is who Sam Darnold actually is, and he just needed a kind of push in the right direction in order to get there.
It was kind of cool to see. That interception they had late when it wasn't an interception, the bobbling play.
Yeah.
Third quarter, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
thought they were going to get a touchdown on that drive, but that was kind of a heartbreaker because they had that's a really good drive they put together until that play. It was really, really effective. And after the touchdown, he ran to the sidelines. And did you see the exchange with KOC? There's no panic. There's no negative. KOC put his hand on his helmet and he said something to him like, "What did you see there?" Sam Darnold responded. We don't know what the words are because I'm looking at the back of his head on the camera. And then KOC nodded his head and patted him on the head. That's a great thing to see. You don't see anger or panic, and he just wanted, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a bad play, and it hurts as a fan to see the bad play, but they're in it together. They're totally in it together. What did you see? What did you know? And I think Darnold hasn't gotten that from the coaching staff anywhere he's been. He's been throw a pick and you get shit on. That's what he's gotten from Saleh and everybody who's been whoever his head coaches have been. It was good to see. It's good to see just guys talking on the right level.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good point. Coming up with a couple comments here.
Liechtenstein.
Sam came up limping again today, and we saw that. Ford Elliott, will he make it through the season?
Great question.
Certainly hope so. I mean, he kind of has to, because the options behind him are not great.
Brings up a good point.
I hope he can.
Okay. And I really like this comment from Jason Finagi again. I'm not going to give him a prize because Jason is and it's a great comment, prize worthy, but Jason, you won a lot of prizes.
Jason's the guy that donated that bitchin' ass leather jacket.
And he has, yeah. I mean, Jason's just a restaurant quality fan of the show.
From day one. From episode one of VR, he's been with us.
Yeah. But this just rings true. And I 100% agree with this. And Jason, if you were a long time listener, first time caller, you would be winning a prize right now. I just want to let you know this. But Sam is a lot more fun to watch than Kirk. He is able to create when the play breaks down. Kirk couldn't. There were a couple times today when Sam there was nothing downfield, so he just broke contain, or he got out of the pocket, tucked the ball and ran for 10, 15 yards, got a first down, and it's just something you just didn't see Kirk do.
Right.
Nope.
And or he improvised and made something happen. One thing I will say today, although Sam, he had that fumble and the interception that we've talked about, each of the first three games up until today, he just made a dumb play, and it didn't cost the Vikings. He had that pitch back, I think, in week 1 or week 2, or maybe even in week 3. He didn't do that today. There were a couple times today where it looked like he could have done that, but he just took the loss and lived to play another day. And it feels like he's learning from those past 3 games where if there's nothing there, he's not trying to force anything now. And that is a good thing to see. It looks like he's listening to the coaches and studying the film and realizing that, look, if there's nothing there, just take the loss. If we got to punt, we got to punt, and we're not going to try and take a bad situation and make it disastrous.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is, like you said, this is the kind of stuff that Kirk Cousins couldn't do. I don't know if Cousins doesn't have quite the athletic ability that Darnold does to get out of the pocket on a regular basis. I mean, I know he had a few moments where he was a little more mobile and did a few things, but Darnold does it pretty consistently. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing we can hopefully expect to see more of. But yeah, I mean, he's going to get hit a few times, and hopefully he just keeps bouncing up, and we'll have to see how it goes from there. But yeah, it's a lot different with Sam Darnold running this offense than it was with Kirk Cousins.
It feels different to me. Like, I don't know. I don't want to speak for Fanagi because he can speak for himself, but it feels to me, and this might be where he's coming from. Kirk Cousins was just there wasn't that. All right, we're going to get the first down. We're going to get a big play right here. It was always check down and mellow and vanilla. With Sam Darnold, you feel you got a little bit of like little aggression and anger. And he had a bad second quarter, a bad third quarter, and then he got hit and fumbled, Ted. When he came out for that next drive, people need to notice his body language, his face, he was pissed off. That's what you want with your quarterback. You don't want him thinking, I want to run it in the middle. KOC let him throw the ball. He was angry on that drive, and I could tell, but he's stomping around, and he's telling people where to go, and he's going back to the line and back, you can just tell what a guy's body language means. F that. And that's what he was saying. That's what's different from Kirk. Kirk Cousins is kind of like, all right, we'll hand off here, and then I'll throw a little pass out to Ham, and then we'll punt. And Darnold feels like, I don't know, one is the librarian and one is the stripper. You got to date the stripper to have, you know what I'm saying? You might want to take a chance on the stripper now and then.
She loves me.
You don't want.
She really loves me.
Doesn't it feel? It just feels exciting. More exciting with Sam Darnold than Kirk Cousins, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel exciting, the offense?
It's a more aggressive offense for sure. Other than the second half today, it definitely does. And the throws, at least in the first 3 games, and especially in that last drive today that resulted in the record field goal that ultimately won the game. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's been the difference between 4-0. FYS 11:32 p.m. in Liechtenstein. All right, cool.
I'm gonna fly to Liechtenstein. I'm going.
I've been there. I've been to Liechtenstein.
No, you haven't.
I was stationed in Germany. I have, man.
You've been to Liechtenstein?
Yeah.
What is your best memory of Liechtenstein?
I got pretty drunk there.
Did you?
Yeah.
What do they drink in Liechtenstein? Lowenbrow?
Beer.
Lowenbrow.
Remember Lowenbrow?
Yeah.
I was big in high school. I was big.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
No, that's Michael.
All right.
Yeah.
What if a librarian takes off her? Well, yeah, you got me on that.
Yeah. All right.
Kubler has me on that. We got.
All right. Look. We're quickly lurching into Cinemax at night. Cinemax after dark.
Let's give a shout out to our crowd, our fans. They're so cool.
Yeah, we are. Great. We got the best. We got the best commenters. Whether they're in Liechtenstein, Austria, Australia, Antarctica, wherever they're from. Ruby, are you there? I know she doesn't have a microphone, but if she's there, if you're ready to put up the Toons' Wheel of Destiny, if you could. Oh, there she is. There we are.
Ooh, invisible wheel today.
Oh, ooh. What do we got going on? Oh, there.
No.
What is that?
Something's going on. I don't know.
Something happened.
We've got a hold on comment there. All right. So all right. Chris, while Ruby's dealing with our technical difficulties, why don't you give us a last thought about today's game and the Viking season at basically the quarter pole at 4-0?
I mean, it was a roller coaster for us. I mean, we were all pretty happy after the first half, and then that botched punt return kind of happened, and things went a little sideways. But at the end of the day, we had more points than Green Bay did, and that's the only thing that actually means anything in the National Football League. We get the overseas trip next week, so we can start watching football at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is going to be fun for everybody, except not really. But yeah, and I'm sure we'll be underdogs to the Jets somehow next week too. We've been underdogs for the last 3 weeks, and I don't understand it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's another successful football Sunday.
Drew, what about you?
I'm happy.
Oh, there we go. There's the wheel.
Oh,
Before you spin it, Ruby, Drew, let's get your last comments.
I'm happy with it, how it came out. I'm not going to worry about anything negative. Right before we started the show, I was all negative, but listening to you guys
were, man.
And listening to
You'd
the
have thought
fans,
we'd have lost the game listening to you.
I'm going to take the 4-0 now, and I'm going to roll into the next one. I love this team. I love the spirit. I love the depth. Everybody's making plays. They can learn from today, and we didn't blow the game. We won the game. We're 4-0. Let's enjoy the 4-0. Come on. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked to be a member of the show that you guys put up with me, and I look forward to next week destroying the Jets. And thanks for tuning in. I just thanks for everybody.
Coach Gothorpe with a great closing comment. We're 4-0 and heading overseas. This is the best case scenario. Time for tea and crumpets and an A-Rod whooping. Man, that's a prize-worthy comment in my book. Coach, get a hold of Ruby at Vikings Report with Drew and Ted at gmail.com. Ruby, put up the wheel. Let's make a prize winner. Spin that wheel. Missing data.
Yay, invisible wheel.
Go ahead, Chris. Pick a name.
I have no idea.
Round and round and round she goes, and where it stops. Matthew Edwardson. That sounds like a first-name winner, too, doesn't it?
That's a first-time winner. Who is Matthew? Are you from Liechtenstein? Matthew, what's his name?
Edwardson.
That's Scottish, I think.
Matthew and Edwardson's son.
Matthew Edwardson. If you're from Liechtenstein, you're a double winner. But
all right.
A lot of winners.
So,
we give out a lot of prizes when the Vikings are winning.
Coach Gothorpe and Matthew Edward and son
And
are our prize winners today. All right. So for Drew, for Chris, for Ruby, who doesn't have a mic for 3 weeks in a row, I'm Ted. Vikings are 4-0, which nobody saw coming. Not even us out of in our prediction. Vikings stand alone atop the NFC North. Put a hammerlock on the division with the win over the Packers today.
Suck it, Green Bay.
It's a great day to be a Vikings fan. Suck at Green Bay, suck at Detroit, suck at Bears, suck at NFL. Skull Vikings, baby.
Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein.